And welcome into the latest edition of the Pump Fake. Jarrett Bailey of SB Nation here with you. As always, the man on the right of your screen, not Todd Haley. He is in Canton celebrating Larry Fitzgerald's Hall of Fame induction with him. So congrats to Larry, congrats to Todd. Joining me today, somehow a first-time guest, man. I don't know how we've gone this long without doing it, but my very good friend from Packers Digest. Subscribe to the Substack. We'll put the link in the description below if you're a Packers fan. Absolutely a must subscribe at Packers Digest. My friend and all-around handsome son of a bitch, Zach Jacobson. Good to see you, pal. How are you?
I appreciate that, man. I'm doing fantastic. I'm really stoked that you had me on. And you're right. It is kind of bizarre. We've known each other for so long. We've followed each other for so long. This is the first time we've done anything, as you said before the show, I think on video. I think we've done audio before. We've done like a podcast before. Must have been a long time ago. but
yeah, like I said, it's been a minute, man. Yeah, so lots to dive into today. We had a game last night. We'll talk about the Hall of Fame game. Stefon Diggs talked for the first time as a member of the Commanders. So a bunch of stuff to dive into, and we'll talk all things Green Bay Packers and NFC North as well. So if you're watching on YouTube, please be sure to subscribe to the channel, help get us to 20,000 subscribers. If you're listening as a podcast, be sure to follow along. That way you know when new episodes come out. Let's start with the Hall of Fame game, man. Unironically, the greatest preseason game of all time, question mark? I for no reason whatsoever. Carson Beck and Haynes King put on a show last night, and it came down to the final play with Haynes King running it in for a touchdown as Kenny Pickett was probably punching air on the sideline.
Dude, it was like the perfect, like, hey, here's what you've been missing for the last several months. This is like, it feels like you're a junkie trying to get your fix, and this was just like oh my god, it was a great game, and people in my friend group who are also big football fans, they made fun of me because I said, yeah, I'm gonna be watching it. They're like, really? You're gonna be watching the Hall of Fame game? Like, no starters. It's gonna be Carson Beck versus Kenny Pickett for the first portion of the game. Are you sure? And I was like, yeah, I'm locked in, man. I need my fix. I need something. Training camp was a nice little, easing back into things. Family night tonight in Green Bay will be fantastic, but I needed more. And last night was just it was great, and it was nice to see Kalen King, a former Packers draft pick, out there getting some run with the Cardinals secondary. I'm kind of bummed for Mike LaFleur. I wanted to see him kind of in his first exhibition game. But I wanted to see him get that win, and just short. Right at the buzzer.
Yeah, like that was and Tirico and Collinsworth on the call were treating it like it was the ending of the Super Bowl. Like, they're fantastic, man. Really enjoyed that. I do have, I've made it a thing. It's only the second year I've done it, but I'm going to make it like a yearly thing where I just post an absurd tweet as if it's Chris Collinsworth actually saying things. So for those who haven't seen it, I said, in the voice of Chris Collinsworth, raccoons keep getting to my tomatoes. So I went out and bought a crossbow and a ghillie suit, camped out in my yard and blasted one at 3 a.m., displayed it as a warning. My neighbors called the ASPCA, so I got a court date next week. And then it just cuts to Mike Tirico's just like, 2nd down and 9. that is their dynamic, and it's great. I love it.
It really is. Chris sometimes he gets a lot of flack, but he reminds me of, just in his old age, especially as he gets older, he kind of just reminds me of just an old guy just rambling about nonsensical things. And then Tirico kind of pulls them back down to earth a little bit. It's like a perfect balance. I didn't mean to do that just now. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay. That's okay. We won't fine you this time, but next time there will be. You'll hear from the Pump Fakes lawyers on that. There is a bit of like, it's apples to oranges, but there is a bit of like Summerall and Madden to Tirico and Collinsworth, where obviously Madden was larger than life. But Summerall was always just like the straightforward, here's what happened. Tirico gets very much more into it than Summerall did, but he is the excited, straightforward guy, where Collinsworth is just very animated and it's very fun. I've never understood the Collinsworth hate. I know that, the Mahomes and Josh Allen stuff is off the rip, but I've always enjoyed Collinsworth personally.
I'm glad you mentioned Summerall, because it was like when I was a kid, not just hearing him on TV, but also hearing him in the old Madden games, like Madden 2002 or whatever. was like, how do people listen to this guy? He's so boring and monotone. And, first down, Green Bay.
Yep.
Just very, very boring. And then I got older, and it was like, wow, this guy is a freaking master. Like it did not, and it never will, I think, get better than Pat Summerall. He was just a legend in the booth, and a very distinctive voice where anytime you hear that, it's like you teleport back in time in a way.
Yeah, he knew how to just serve up an easy softball for Madden and let him go. And then, like you said, just bring everybody back to what's happening now. It was a very good volley that they always had off each other. So and I think that Tirico and Collinsworth have a similar rapport, and it's very good to see. So I won't stand for any Chris Collinsworth slander. Since we're on the topic of announcers, let's talk about this real quick. Awful Announcing reporting that several announcer contracts are coming up. Troy Aikman and Joe Buck. It's reported that Prime could make a play for both of those guys as they're both in contract years. Greg Olsen in the final year of his deal, Kirk Herbstreit in the final year of his over at Prime. I would say my guess is that Buck and Aikman stay at ESPN. It's Monday Night Football. It's iconic. ESPN waited so long to have another iconic team call Monday Night Football to make it feel important again. I don't think they'll let them go. It's ESPN, so you never really know, but I would assume that they hold on to those two guys. I would love to see Olsen jump to either be Nance's color commentator guy or have him go be the top guy on Prime. Whichever one he decides, he deserves to be in a number one chair, and he'll more than likely get that. Kirk Herbstreit, love him in college football. Don't need to see him in an NFL booth ever again.
Yeah, I feel like Herbstreit's shtick got kind of old a little fast in the NFL, and I don't know. There's something just about hearing him with Al Michaels. I don't feel like they really gel together.
No,
like especially for like a primetime Thursday night game, they don't mesh. And I hope. Well, it's a good thing I'm not tweeting this, because I tweeted about the same thing about Pat McAfee one time about how his shtick got old. He found it and he got upset and he blocked me. So.
That's fine. I don't think I'm blocked by McAfee yet. And look, I think that there is a place for McAfee. Like, obviously his show is very popular, but like the place for that was him doing his own thing and it not being run on ESPN airwaves. Like, that was the perfect spot for it. Like, hey, this is, a bunch of dude bros talking about football with former athletes, and that's a cool thing. That's fine. When he's shoved down everybody's throats constantly, not just on his show, but like you pull up the Masters and for some reason Pat McAfee's there, it does get to be a bit much. So I'm completely in with you on that. Like, shtick's getting old.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's truth to this or not, because I know it's a popular conclusion to reach on social media, where everybody's getting laid off from ESPN, all the good voices, all the good analysts, but it's to pay a substantial amount of money to guys like Pat McAfee, Stephen A. Smith, who I don't have anything against Stephen A. Smith, but it's like those two guys are dumping their entire salary into. And again, I don't know if there's any truth to that. I don't know what their payroll looks like, but if there is, then obviously at that point, like, it's like clearly ESPN's trying to shift into like you said, that kind of that dude bro kind of analysis, and it's, I mean, if that's the direction they want to go, I mean, good for them, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. This does feel like a good opportunity to talk about our favorite, like, play-by-play guys, commentators. Where do you fall on Gus Johnson? I think his shtick has also gotten old for me.
Oh man. I feel like a lot of people feel that way, but I've always loved Gus Johnson. Sure, there are times where he needs to kind of scale it back and temper down a little bit. Like, he doesn't need to be yelling when it's a 13-yard completion on 2nd and 9. But I don't know. I felt like his voice was just always best suited for the college football atmosphere, and it just when you flip on a game on a Saturday morning and you hear him, it's like you I don't know. It's always been a really good feeling for me. Ever just growing up and hearing his voice, it's always just been a good feeling for me. It brings about good memories, I guess. But I can see a scenario where it's like, okay, yeah, you can relax, you can calm down a little bit.
I think I started to sour on him with the was it Maserati Marv? What he called Marvin Harrison Jr. Anytime he touched the ball at Ohio State, it's like, all right, Gus, we get it, man. Like, just call him by his name. So I think that's where I started to sour on him a little bit. I think Joel Klatt's fantastic as their number one analyst. And despite what everybody seems to think about Big Noon Kickoff, I think Big Noon Kickoff's great. If every one of my favorite teams' game could be played in the noon and 1 o'clock windows, sign me up.
I completely agree. I completely agree.
Yeah. There is, even though I'm not that big on Gus Johnson, this might seem like hypocritical, but I do like Kevin Harlan a lot. Is he still the Packers preseason guy?
Yes. Yeah. He still does their preseason stuff. Son of Bob Harlan, man. It's another one of those things where anytime you hear his voice, you just got really fond memories, you know. And he could do it all. He could do basketball, football. I mean, he bounced across, and he just has such an iconic voice. And I'm glad he's the Packers guy. I really am.
For sure. Like he's fantastic. I've really grown fond of Brady as an analyst. Kevin Burkhardt's also incredible. Like I think there was a lot of skeptical beliefs about, okay, Buck and Aikman are leaving. Kevin Burkhardt is going to be the number one guy. He's crushed it.
Dude, Kevin Burkhardt's awesome. He's phenomenal. But Tom Brady too. I'm the same way. I feel like he's another guy who gets a lot of flack, but he's kind of grown into the role really well. The first year was rough. Like I remember there were some rough moments where it was like he would just drone on. It kind of felt like he was trying to be Tony Romo in a way and predict certain things, like how Romo was early on. But he's really kind of settled into the role. And I should have known not to underestimate Tom Brady at something. Like if he really wants to be good at it, he's probably going to end up being really good.
Yeah, I know. Look, there's been some stinkers of like big game booths and primetime booths, and no disrespect to this person in particular because he's great at other sports and he's even good at football. But like Joe Tessitore with Jason Witten and Booger McFarland as the Monday Night Football crew, like, and they had Booger on his weird roller coaster thing on the sideline for a little bit. The whatever the hell they called that. Oh my god!
Yeah, the big. It was like a crane. And he was and they would pan to him. He'd be sitting up there just like this, explaining stuff. It's like, okay.
I do love. We did get one of the best memes out of it, which is just like explaining obvious things. It's just the Booger McFarland meme. It was like, if you score more points, you win the game. It's like, thanks, Booger. Appreciate it. Great analysis from you, man.
Yeah, it's weird hearing like Joe Tessitore in an environment like that, because then you turn on like a WWE broadcast and you hear him doing breakdowns and stuff. So I don't know. Yeah. I feel like he has a voice that's best suited for that, for like WWE things.
Sure.
But yeah.
All right. So enough of announcing and whatnot. Let's talk about some current training camp stuff, some signings. Stefon Diggs signed by the Washington Commanders. That one felt like a move that was a matter of when, not if. I did try to get a little bit cute in my 61 predictions piece and say that he would sign with Dallas, just because I wanted to see what that trio would look like of CeeDee Lamb, George Pickens, and Stefon Diggs. He ends up in Washington. He spoke for the first time today.
I can't write a better story, at this point in my career and what I want to do, and being able to be healthy and coming off of ACL, having success and going to your hometown team and want to shine for them. And, I want to put on for my city. I'm always going to want to do that. You know what I'm saying? I did it when I was away, and I want to do it when I'm home. So it definitely means a lot to me. You know what I'm saying? Pull on your heartstrings a little bit, but, I know the city behind me. I know I got a support system here, and I know I got a lot of love here. So all I want to do is make people proud. You know what I'm saying? Make the city proud. And the best way you can do that is go far. You know what I'm saying? I don't know where. I'm not going to say where. You don't want to jinx it or nothing, but I want to go far, and I want to be consistent and be a puzzle piece to this team in a positive way. Thank y'all.
So Diggs obviously happy to be back in he grew up in the Delmarva area. He went to the University of Maryland now, goes back to the area. And I don't know how you feel about Washington. I've been pretty bullish on them going into the season. I think a healthy Jaden Daniels, a revamped defense with, I think, 7 new starters. They get younger, they get faster on that side of the ball, which was a big need. And now you add Stefon Diggs to go with Terry McLaurin on offense. I like what they could be this year. If Jaden Daniels stays healthy, I think they're back in the postseason.
Yeah, I think that's the big caveat, right? Is if Jaden Daniels can stay healthy. I hope he put on a little more mass this offseason. Yeah. I feel like he's just a little too. I don't want to say lanky, but he's just too small. I feel like to absorb hits from these pro level linebackers, and we saw flashes as a rookie. We see what he can be. That was year 1. So if he can continue to grow, he also needs. I feel like people underrate this. There needs to be some semblance of consistency as far as his offensive staff goes. You guys got to go into each year with the same coordinator, with the same system in place. They have to be able to evolve in one particular scheme, because you see guys flame out because they're changing coordinators every single offseason. That's a lot of the times. That's how bad teams stay bad. So I feel like if there's some semblance of consistency in Washington, Jaden Daniels could thrive. And I feel like Stefon Diggs is going to be a good fit. It kind of felt like more of a, okay, well, we can't get Brandon Ayuk. We're not going to bring that head case into the building right now. Let's pivot. Who's the best guy available on the market right now? Diggs.
What a speed run of CTE that guy did. And look, we're joking about that, obviously, and whatnot, but what the hell is he doing?
Oh my God, he's trying to be Antonio Brown without being as good as Antonio Brown was.
Right.
Like you're not that good to be able to do all these things on social media and to be able to cause a ruckus the way you have.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because he was still in his prime. He was still a young player. I don't know if he's ever going to play again, if any team is ever going to want to take a chance on him. But, you know, he would have been a good fit in Washington as well. I like that little trio they're building with McLaurin, with Diggs, and the rookie Antonio Williams. I think he's going to be really good. They got a pretty. It's
a good collection. It's a good balance, I would say. Like McLaurin and Diggs are a little bit older. We'll see with Antonio Williams. I'm not going to pretend that I watched every snap of his collegiate career, but we went in the third round. Respective draft analysts and whatnot seem to be high on the pick. They bring in Katron Allen as well from Penn State to help in the run game. And like I said, defensively, they got younger, they got faster. Sonny Styles looks like a dog, man. Like I'm very excited to watch him.
Oh my God, the camp clips that I've seen of him, he just looks like a 2000s linebacker reincarnated. Yes. He looks great, and the fact that he's wearing a 52, I mean that's a killer number, no pun intended.
Yeah. To hell with all these linebackers wearing single digits. Let's get back to 52. I mean that's an elite linebacker number. It looks good with their like block numbers and bringing back their classic aesthetic. I'm very high on the Commanders, and I hope that they can get back to the postseason. Jaden Daniels is very fun to watch. But yeah, I do agree with the fact that I would like to see him get a little bit heavier. I mean, we saw last year he got hit and his elbow was inside out. Don't want that to happen again. And I think that getting him a little bit more help offensively, that is the best thing that they could do right now to try to get back to where they were a couple years ago. All right, let's stay in the NFC. Let's talk about your Green Bay Packers. I don't say this just because you're here and because you're my friend. In terms of the people that I follow that, cover the team, are fans of the team, I don't know if there is anybody that I follow that is as knowledgeable and insightful as you. And for some reason, when it comes to their quarterback, you and I love Jordan Love. And for some reason, he's become, in my opinion, the most underrated quarterback in the NFL right now. And I can't remember who said it, so I do apologize if that person is listening to this. But I saw it on Twitter, and somebody said he's the perfect mashup of like a gunslinger that fans of that type of ball like, and analytics for the people who like the number side of game. Like last year, of all quarterbacks to play 100 snaps, he was second in EPA, only behind Drake May. And he'll have throws each game where, all right, it's double coverage, that window's small, and he has the arrogance just like, yeah, I can fit it in there, watch this. And he's such a fun player to watch. He's become so much more efficient. I just don't understand the pushback when it comes to Jordan Love.
Well, first of all, dude, I appreciate those kind words. That really means a lot to me. And I'm a big fan of your work as well, everything you do covering the Steelers and here on Pump Fake. Yeah, it's a little perplexing. It always has been. And I will always go back to the same concept of the fact that people are going to hold him to the same standard that Aaron Rodgers was held at, because he was Aaron Rodgers, and it was the same standard that Aaron Rodgers was held to when Brett Favre was there as a quarterback and Aaron Rodgers took over. He was held to that standard. He was never going to follow in the footsteps of a legend, a beloved franchise icon, and then look what happened.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not saying Jordan Love is in any capacity going to be as good as Aaron Rodgers was. We see some of the similarities in terms of their footwork, their throwing mechanics, their command at the line of scrimmage. Jordan Love isn't at the point that Aaron Rodgers was a maestro pre-snap.
Right.
Like he was phenomenal. Like one of the smartest quarterbacks I've ever seen. Jordan Love can get to that point. He's not there right now. But it's the fact that he isn't Aaron Rodgers right now, going into year 4 as a starter, that they're never going to give him his flowers. Sure, you have some of the people who actually pay attention and follow the games, and they look at the advanced metrics and they say, hey, this guy has been very good. He's been very impressive. Then you have the other people that look at the few highlight reels of the interceptions that he's thrown, which when he does throw interceptions, they're usually the dumbest, most moronic plays that you've ever seen.
The one against the Rams a couple years ago comes to mind, where he's like falling in the end zone and just say, what the hell? Somebody will catch it. Somebody did catch it, and they ran it back for a touchdown.
I think when he did that, when he was trying to throw it out of bounds, but he didn't put enough air on it. So dumb play on his part, which I hope he never does again. But it's like things like that. They're highlighted and they're much more just blatant than the other interceptions he throws or any other quarterback throws for that matter. And it's that, and it's also they've been a 7th seed 3 consecutive years,
right?
And their wild card exits in back-to-back years. They just blew a significant lead in Chicago. I mean, all of those things combined create a cocktail that make people look at the Packers and look at Jordan Love and say, I was actually talking to somebody about this the other day. They look at the Packers and they just don't see a great team. They don't see them going anywhere with Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur, which that's a separate conversation. But I think everything points to him being a good quarterback, and last year was his best season.
Yeah,
maybe not statistically, but at points he was in complete and total control of the offense, and that was with an offensive line that really wasn't that great. That had a lot of players cycling in, moving around. And in Matt LaFleur's offense, if your offensive line isn't operating at full capacity and you can't get the run game going, you're not going to be able to get the pass game going. It's really the same thing with a lot of those guys in the Shanahan tree, Sean McVay, Kyle Shanahan. It's very similar. If everything can't work in tandem, then you're going to struggle. Your offense isn't going to look like a well-oiled machine.
Yeah, and we saw that. I think that became too predictable in short yardage situations when everybody knew, okay, they're going to pound it with Jacobs, and then we're going to be ready for that. So I think being a little bit more unpredictable would certainly help them. But yeah, last year, 23 touchdowns, only 6 picks, passer rating 101, over just under 3,400 yards. And we talk about the interceptions, but he's never thrown for more than 11 in a season, which isn't a devastating number. Like we're talking about, some people are talking about Jordan Love like he's Jay Cutler, and I love Jay Cutler. Don't get me wrong, but Smoking Jay, yeah. But there were times where Jay Cutler just threw the dumbest interceptions you've ever seen, and he would, be amongst the league leaders in picks. Sometimes Love, like you said, will have those dumb interceptions, but I would say every quarterback has dumb interceptions. It just happens. It's part of the game. We had to listen to it. How we feel about Josh Allen. The year that he had 18 interceptions, I had to hear about Josh Allen's turnovers as if that took away from how great of a quarterback he was. And look, he's cut down on those significantly. So I just think sometimes those happen. When you're a quarterback that has the ability to push the ball downfield and make consistent splash plays, I'll live with a couple dumb interceptions because you can do things to help me more than just about any other quarterback can. So I'll take a guy like that over, a check down Charlie 10 out of 10 times.
And it goes back to that arrogance that you mentioned. When a quarterback, like you mentioned, has the ability, has the arm talent, where they're in the headspace where they think they can make every single throw on the field from any angle. And Jordan Love can. He's shown that he can make off-platform throws, that he can throw when he's under duress, that he can get outside the pocket and throw on the run. A perfect example was the divisional game against San Francisco, his first year starting. The play that pretty much ended the game. He rolled out to the pocket to the right, 1st and 10. They still had timeouts. There was still time to go down and get a game-time field goal, go into overtime. He's rolling right. There was across his body toward the middle of the field to like 3 or 4 49er defenders. Christian Watson couldn't even get to the ball. But I don't know what he saw or what he was looking at, but he probably thought he was able to fit that throw in there somehow. And that was a teaching point. That was a learning lesson. Like, hey, maybe don't throw across your body. That's like the cardinal sin of quarterbacking. Don't throw across your body. But it's plays like that where he knows he can get away with it. The fadeaway throws that he's
oh my God.
Yeah, he has an affinity for making. It's
Tim Duncan in the post. Like, all right, it's game over because you're just gonna hit a fadeaway on you. What can you do about that?
Yeah, there were a couple times. I think the first time he got away with it, it was against the Chiefs, his first year starting, 2023, and he got away with a fadeaway just just throw. And it was like, okay, don't ever do that again. And then he did it again, and it was successful. And then he did it again, and it was successful. So you kind of get to the point where it's like, okay, he's doing it on purpose because he knows he can do it. He knows he can get away with these kinds of throws. Now, this offseason, Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love have both explicitly said that he's trying to limit some of those plays and trying to have a more balanced platform in the pocket to throw for him because that's when he feels he's at his best. So maybe it's a good thing that he's going to taper back on those a little bit because eventually it's going to blow up in his face. It's not going to end up well.
Sure. Let's look at the other side of the ball real quick. Micah Parsons is going to be out for a while. Don't exactly know when he's going to be back. How do you feel about Green Bay's defense sans Parsons for at least the first month and a half of the year?
You know, they're hoping that Lucas Van Ness, takes a fourth-year leap. Now, I say fourth-year leap because we haven't really seen much from him yet, and he was coming on a little bit last year. He's playing well in a rotation with Rashawn Gary and Micah Parsons, and then he had a foot injury, and he missed a lot of time. So I think this year is when they're really going to need him to shine. They're going to really need him to be at his best and prove, like, hey, this is why we spent the top 15 pick on you immediately after we traded our franchise legend, you know? So, and outside of him, Barron Sorrell, he's had a really good camp. He had a pick 6 off Jordan Love on a screen pass in practice the other day. So he's shined a little bit. Colin Oliver's flashed a little bit in practice. Both draft picks from last year. Oliver really spent the entire year on the practice squad, so we don't really know what he can be just yet. And then you have Brenton Cox, Aaron Mosby. I feel like new defensive coordinator Jonathan Gannon, he's going to probably have to get a little creative with how he manufactures pressure, and I think he's going to be using linebacker Edgerrin Cooper as kind of a recipe to that. He has two defenses, essentially. He has a Micah Parsons defense, and he has a defense without Micah Parsons. And that's how they're going to be operating for the first kind of hopefully less than half of the season until Parsons returns. He said he's going to be able to be back for the October 18th game against Dallas. I don't think it'll be that early. I think it'll be more like week 8. So we'll see how that goes. But I think they have a unit that's really there's a lot of potential. I'll say that unproven, untapped potential. Oh, and they also drafted tonight Dennis Sutton from Penn State.
Yep.
They got him, I believe, in the 4th round. So it's another guy that's going to be added to the mix. They're going to have a deep stable. It's just a matter of whether or not they can consistently manufacture pressure.
And the thing that also benefits them is the first half of their schedule much easier than the back end. We'll put it on screen here for a minute. The first 2 weeks, if they can start off 2-0 against Minnesota and the Jets, they'll then play the Atlanta Falcons. I think that's a win. They'll then go to Tampa Bay. I think they're better than Tampa Bay. There's a realistic chance that they start off 4-0, or at the very least 3-1 going into that first matchup with the Bears at home. And if they come away in the first 5 weeks 4-1, I think that they can feel very good about themselves and not necessarily have to rush Micah Parsons back.
Yeah, it's definitely a favorable schedule. I'm not as high on that Buccaneers game as you might be, just because every time the Packers go into Tampa Bay, they end up they lose. They end up getting the crap smacked out of them, and that's been the case dating back to 2009 when Rodgers threw 3 picks and they blew a lead. So they're a little snake bitten in Tampa Bay. So I'm not counting my chickens before they hatch on that one, but it's definitely favorable, and I feel like maybe they did or maybe they didn't. Maybe the schedule makers aligned things in a way where it's like, okay, October 11th, I believe it's the 11th that they play the Bears. Yeah, October 11th that they play the Bears, and then the Cowboys. So it's like the schedule makers aligned that perfectly to where it's like, okay, Micah Parsons might be back by then. Hopefully, fingers crossed. This is going to be primetime viewing. Micah Parsons making his return either against the team that knocked the Packers out last year or against his former team. I don't think either of those things happened. I think he still misses both of those games, but we'll see. I'm optimistic.
Yeah, I picked Green Bay to be a playoff team. I have Detroit winning the division, and I don't know, man. Like with the Lions, there's a lot of like uncertainty with me picking them to win the division. And I see the look on your face right now. You're like, oh, okay, that's a little bit ballsy. Yeah, like there is a lot of what ifs with the Lions. What if they don't stay healthy, like they haven't done the past couple years on defense? What if offensively something similar happens last year where Drew Petzing isn't necessarily what they need. Dan Campbell has to take over play calling again. Like there is a lot of ifs when it comes to the Lions. However, when they are in sync offensively, I think pound for pound, they are the most dangerous offense in the NFL just because they can kill you in so many different ways. And I'm gonna bet on the fact that they have an easier schedule. I think it'll be similar to San Francisco last year, where they do benefit from an easier schedule offensively. I think that they'll do enough regardless of what the defense looks like. But there are still definitely some doubts that I have with the Lions that I won't be surprised if they come to light.
I want to believe in the Lions. I really do. As you mentioned, their offense is lethal. I mean, that between Goff and Gibbs, and they brought in Pacheco, who I think is going to surprise a lot of people as that number 2. Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra St. Brown, Jameson Williams. I just feel like they're going to need to average 30 or 31 points a game, which I think they've done. I think they did in 2023 or 2024. I think it was like 31. I don't know if this version of the Lions can do that because that defense is very, very suspect right now.
Especially the secondary, with Terry Arnold putting, kidnappings on Twitch or whatever he did. And Kirby Joseph's knee still kind of a question.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Kirby Joseph's knee. I would kind of be surprised if he pulled. I think he'll play this year, but it might be a little later. It might be too late, and I don't think he'll be like a shell of himself. I feel like, which is a shame because I thought he was a really, really good safety, despite what beef he and I have in the past. And Brian Branch, he might not be healthy for a large part of the season. He's still working his way back. So I just feel like that defense isn't going to be able to hold for much of the season. I feel like it's going to be it could be career years for all of those offensive guys. Like they could put up career numbers because they're going to be on the field a lot. So, I could see a scenario where the Lions win the division, maybe.
Yeah, I'm looking at their schedule right now. New Orleans week 1. I think the Saints win the South, but I still think that that's a game that Detroit could win. Although, and not to bring up painful memories, but there was a game in, what was that year? Was it 21, 22? The Packers and Saints played each other week 1. And I was like, oh my God, the Packers are going to absolutely boat race the Saints. And then Jameis Winston threw for like 90 yards and 5 touchdowns, and everybody thought that he was going to be the savior of that team. Now they didn't end the year great, but the Saints do have a tendency to, surprise better teams, specifically in the NFC North in week 1.
Yeah, thanks for rehashing that for me.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That was the weird the game they moved to Jacksonville, I think.
Yeah, to Florida.
Site. Yeah, and I think the final score was 38-3 or something. They just absolutely walloped. It was terrible. So thanks for that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people point to the schedule because this was something that I brought up on Twitter a few weeks ago, how I wasn't really high on the Lions, and I don't see why people are picking them to win the division.
Sure.
So, and people pointed to the schedule, the strength of schedule, and this and that, but I never feel like that means anything, because we see it all the time. Teams lose every Sunday to teams they're not supposed to lose to. Like
That's fair.
It's the old phrase, any given Sunday. These guys all come out to play. They all go out there to earn their paychecks. So you never know. And also, for the most part, they have the same record, maybe not precisely same schedule as the Packers, Bears, and Vikings. They're all kind of cycling through the same schedule every 4 years. So it's, I don't know. I never got the strength of schedule argument. But if you want to sell me, if you want to sway me, then I'm open to listening.
I mean, the week 3 to 5 stretch where they played the Jets, Panthers, and Cardinals, if they don't win each of those games by 90, I will be kind of surprised. Actually, I wrote in my 61 predictions piece that they'll put up 40 against the Panthers and Cardinals in back-to-back weeks, and it'll just be public executions in those 2 games.
Public execution.
Yeah, it's not going to be great. They are a team that, in terms of my division winners, if you ask me which one I'm least confident about, I would probably say them, just because A, it's a deep division. B, there are a lot of unknowns with injury-related stuff, and also when certain guys are going to be back or if they'll be back at all. I think we can agree, though, that the Minnesota Vikings, I don't care. I could not care less about the Vikings. Every clip that I see from J.J. McCarthy in camp looks like a toddler chasing bubbles. I think that's all done. We know what Kyler Murray is at this point in his career. I just can't get behind either Murray or McCarthy.
I'm a firm believer in quarterbacks kind of going to new environments and getting like a career reset. You know, it's just new atmosphere. It revitalizes them a little bit. Maybe they're a better fit with a certain coordinator or a certain coach or in a certain offense. And we the last few years have been like the years of the quarterback resurgence. You know, guys from years of old who flamed out, came back. Sam Darnold just won a Super Bowl. And he was great with Kevin O'Connell. I don't buy that Kevin O'Connell is some kind of quarterback whisperer, like Vikings fans like to tell me. But I think the Vikings will be a little better than people will give them credit for, because that's more of like a personal thing. Because I've always liked Kyler Murray. I've never had like much of a like, wow, he stinks. I just think he was in a very bad situation in Arizona for several years.
Arizona is basically NFL Siberia, so I get that argument.
Yeah, and him throwing to a core of Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, and Jawan Jennings, who I think is very talented. I think he could have a little bit of a resurgence there. Now, defensively, I don't like anything they have. I don't like anything on that side of the ball. I think they'll probably be like a 6 or 7 win team this year. But yeah, I think you and I, again, both in agreement that they're going to finish probably 4th in the division.
Yeah, I mean, I love Brian Flores. I think he should get another head coaching job at some point. We'll see if that ever happens, just because of everything going on with, a lawsuit against the NFL. And I think that he'll get as much out of that unit as humanly possible. He has the last 3 years now where they've been, top 10 units, and at one point were the top unit in the NFL. But at some point, it feels like that well's going to run dry.
Exactly what I was going to say. I feel like you can only make chicken salad out of chicken shit for so long.
Sure.
And I think eventually it's going to get to a point where it's like, this is not sustainable anymore. Awesome coordinator, very, very good at his job, and there are times where he has had the Packers in absolute hell. But I think eventually that's, like as you said, the well's going to run dry.
All right, so let's talk about the reigning NFC North champions. Save the Bears for last for good reason.
We don't have to talk about them.
The NFL is better when both the Packers and Bears are good, and this whole dialogue, like as somebody who doesn't have really a dog in the fight when it comes to the whole Packers Bears, Jordan Love versus Caleb Williams thing, it's very fun to watch as an observer. I like Caleb. I certainly wouldn't put him above Jordan Love. I would like to see him complete 60% of his passes before I put him over Jordan Love. I think too many people have fallen in love with the playoff run and the crazy late game throws and whatnot, and haven't really taken a look at, the first 3 quarters of both of those games weren't exactly, eye popping. So consistency is what I want to see more from with Caleb Williams. Even if the offense is good, you said this about Detroit, I'm saying it about the Bears. FTN projects that they're going to be the worst defense in the NFL this year. They lost so many guys on that side of the ball. They were very turnover dependent last year on that side of the ball. That's rarely something that carries over, where you're just going to get a ton of takeaways each season. And they lost all the guys that were getting those takeaways. Nahshon Wright, Kevin Byard, Jaquan Brisker, Tremaine Edmonds, all those guys are gone. So I do think that there is a world where the offense is still pretty good. Caleb even takes a little bit of a step forward, but they're an 8-9 team because the defense can't stop anybody.
Yeah, I think I would probably agree. I mean, that's why everyone's calling them the number 1 regression candidate, right?
Right. Shout out Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson horrifies me, by the way.
He doesn't seem human. I feel like at some point, there's gonna, like, his skin is gonna split open and a lizard is gonna crawl out of him or something. Like I don't feel like he's a real person.
Yeah.
I also feel like he's trying a little bit too hard.
A little bit. I see what you're saying. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I don't know exactly how to articulate that, but I feel like he just tries very, very hard to be the stern, I'm the angry football coach. I'm gonna punish you. Don't ask me that question.
I'm gonna find screenshots of like just Ben Johnson in a press conference and throw them on right here, just so people can see just the absolute insanity that reeks off this man.
That's perfect. I tweeted something last year where it was like, because Bears fans are always tweeting about how Ben Johnson is so intense. He's always just on the sideline. And then I posted a picture. I don't know if you know that picture of Donkey from Shrek, and it's like the super up close view of his face, and he's like,
yeah, he's trying to make a puppy dog face or whatever, and it's just ugly.
Yeah. And he just looks like that. Like it looks like he's mewing or something. They didn't like that, but I really like Caleb Williams to the point where it's probably detrimental to my relationship with certain Packer fans online because they don't like that. They don't like anytime you praise a rival, which
right.
I got to be objective.
Sure.
I don't just cover the Packers. I also cover the NFL for our website, so I need to be objective. I need to be, just open to all kinds of dialogue. He's very good. He reminds me, the completion percentage thing is a little like I'll make jokes about that and stuff, but some of the things that he does remind me of like a younger Aaron Rodgers from just watching him. The off-platform throws, his escapability in the pocket, how he gets out and can make throws on the run with just pinpoint accuracy. I think he's not even scratching the surface of what he could be, and that really scares me. But I completely agree. Defensively, they have some question marks. I mean, Jalen Johnson, I don't think he's the same player that he used to be in any stretch of the imagination.
Not to interrupt you, but do you remember like 2 years ago when randomly Jalen Johnson was like, I have sex a lot? And they did that whole piece.
I don't think I do. Wait, hold on.
You don't remember that?
No.
Yeah, there was a whole thing about him like talking about, and look, I shouldn't laugh at it too much because it was a courageous thing for him to do, but talking about like how he had a sex addiction.
Oh, I see now. Opened up in a press conference about going to therapy to battle sex addiction.
And I know that I laughed at it, but genuinely, like that's a very open thing for him to do. But at the same time, it is very funny. He just randomly admitting, I get laid so much.
God, that is like when you're younger and you're hanging out with your friends and you're trying to brag. It's like, boy, do I love having sex. Sex is great. Sex is so cool. Hey, I have so much sex.
Oh God. Oh, I shouldn't laugh so much at it, but by God, yeah, that I remember reading the piece, and it was a very like deep, insightful piece. And again, I'm so sorry for laughing at it so much, but it is on the surface a very funny thing. That just reminded me of that.
It is funny. Like I know, like you said, we're not supposed to laugh at those things, but I mean, a sex addiction.
It is
I feel like there are worse things.
Sure. Oh, of course there is. Like, we wouldn't be laughing at all if it was like he came out as like, yeah, I'm addicted to cocaine. We're like, oh, dude, like that's deep. Like, very, very sorry about that. And look, again, I cannot stress this enough. I'm very glad that he felt comfortable enough to say, hey, I've been going through this thing and I've been going to therapy for it. Here's, what's been going on. Courageous of him to do it. I'm sorry for laughing at it. It's just on the surface without any context. It's very funny.
Yeah. So
Jalen Johnson, not the same player that he used to be. Yep.
Not the same player that he used to be. And two, he just has way too much sex to really function as an NFL corner. Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned as well, Nahshon Wright, who I thought he was okay last year. I was really intrigued. I like tall corners. I like tall, lanky corners, just, especially if they're playing the boundary. So, I thought there was more out in front of him.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, he was on one of the seasons of Last Chance U.
He was.
I think it was, the Laney season, right? In Oakland.
Yeah. Yep, that was him. And then their pass rush is really just Montez Sweat.
Mm-hmm.
What else? Booker.
Who's fine, but like you need somebody more.
Yeah. I mean, they're hoping that Austin Booker kind of helps a little more in that department, but I don't see it with him. Look, I don't know what they're going to do defensively. Offensively, I still think they could be a really good, really good unit, even without DJ Moore. I feel like if you kind of you're streamlining targets a little more toward Rome Odunze, Luther Burden, who I think is going to be really good.
I think he is too.
Yeah, it pains me to admit that, and there's always going to be those kind of career parallels with Matthew Golden.
Yeah,
but we'll see how his career kind of pans out. And I really like the Xavier Thomas kid that they got. A very, very lethal, shifty player that can do a lot. But we'll see. We'll see how if they do regress.
They are, like I said, that defense does scare me too much, where I don't have them as a playoff team this year. I have them as one of the first teams out just because I think that they could be not quite as good offensively as the Bengals were a couple years ago when Burrow had 40 touchdowns. But, I think all jokes aside about Caleb, like I do think he'll take a step forward. And when that run game got going last year, I mean, that took such a load off of him and allowed the passing game to open up. Colson Loveland, I think, is a top 5 tight end in the NFL right now. They've drafted really well, offensively speaking. It's just defensively, man, like they're going to be relying a lot on a bunch of new guys in different roles that weren't there last year. So that is something that I'm very worried about. Who is their new defensive coordinator? It's escaping me. Don't remember at the top of my head. Probably should have had that pulled up. Let me actually get it pulled up real quick. Oh, it's Dennis Allen.
Dennis Allen, yeah.
Yeah. So, he's not new.
No, he was there last year.
Where was Eberflus last year? Because I thought it was Eberflus is the head coach. You know what? Just big old brain fart by me. Eberflus was with the Cowboys last year, who came from Chicago. All right, yeah. See, I got my switches back and forth. You know what? Yeah. My bad on that. Yeah, why would they fire Dennis Allen after last year when they had a billion takeaways? He'll have a lot of work to do. Good luck to Dennis Allen. That is going to be a unit where I think that I don't know if they'll be the worst defense in football, but I think that it's certainly plausible they'll be one of the 5 to 10 worst.
Yeah, your scheme can only kind of mask deficiencies for so long.
Mm-hmm.
And again, all the turnovers that they had last year, that's not sustainable. That's not stable. That's probably not going to be repeated again. I don't know if Bears fans are accounting for that. I don't know if the Bears are accounting for that. They do need to go out there and prove it again. It is good that they have that continuity of keeping their coordinator and going into a second year. I know how important that was with the Packers and Jeff Hafley just going into year 2 with the same coordinator. So we'll see. I like Dennis Allen. I really do. I think he's a very, very good coordinator. But again, it's kind of similar to what the Vikings are doing with Brian Flores. I feel like you can only make chicken salad out of chicken shit for so long.
Your final NFC North predictions 1 through 4. What do they look like?
Ooh, see, that's tough because I think the Bears possibly repeat.
Oh,
but no, I'm gonna pick Green Bay. I'll pick Green Bay.
Okay.
And that's not me. That's not me being biased or anything. I think the Packers, just top to bottom, have a stronger roster than the Bears. So we'll see. And again, I think the Bears do regress a little bit. Not so much to the point where they drop in the division. I think they'll still be second in the North. I think they'll still get one of the playoff seeds. And then I got the Lions at 3, Vikings at 4.
I went Detroit, Green Bay, Chicago, Minnesota. That was my 1 through 4. I think Detroit and Green Bay are both playoff teams. I believe I had Green Bay as the 6th seed. So not getting that 7 seed is a big one for them in that regard.
Look, after 3 straight years of the last seed, I'll take just about any kind of upgrade. I'll take a 6th seed.
It is bizarre how both of our teams are going to face each other in the preseason here in week 1 in less than a week's time. If the Steelers have also been a team that when they do get into the postseason, it's been like, okay, they're the 7th seed or the 6th seed. Last year they were the 4th seed, and that was very refreshing to see them have a home playoff game, even it was the most unwatchable offensive performance through about 3 quarters for both teams. And then the Texans defense just went off in the 4th quarter and had a pair of touchdowns to really seal everything. I'm very excited about what Green Bay can be this year. I'm hopeful about Jordan Love continuing to take steps forward and kind of silence a lot of people who continue to be naysayers. Let a naysayer know, as Reese Davis would say. So we'll see how that goes this season. Zach Jacobson, I'm going to put a nice big old screenshot of Packers Digest right across the screen right now. Tell everybody where they can go to subscribe to it, what you got on there, what's coming. I'll give you the floor.
Yeah, so everybody, I started my own Substack. I'm no longer with Packer Report. I am kind of really putting every last bit of energy I have writing and putting content on the site. So, I'm very excited to be doing that. You can find me at PackerDispatch.com. You said digest a few times, but I'm not.
Oh, I'm so sorry. I did say digest a few times. I've got Bills Digest and Packers Dispatch stuck in my both of them going back and forth. So my apologies on that.
I completely understand. You know, Packer Dispatch is the new kid on the block, so
yes,
we haven't really earned the right to like, hey, you know, get my name right. We haven't earned the right to do that yet.
I apologize for that.
You're fine. But it's PackerDispatch.com. All of my work is going to be on there. I try to do as much free work as possible because I don't want to charge a bunch of subscriptions like, hey, this news release about the Packers signing a practice squad receiver is going to be behind a paywall. You know, I know some sites do that, and I'm not going to do that. But yeah, PackerDispatch.com. You can find everything there. Everything's heating up now, as Jarrett over here mentioned. The Packers Steelers play each other next Thursday, August 13th. That's going to be very fun. Aaron Rodgers against the Packers again, probably for a drive or two, I feel like.
Sounds like he's going to play, which surprises me. But yeah, the way that Big Mike's been talking. I mean, yeah, the Steelers have basically just become like Packers East to you at this point. You got Mike McCarthy, Aaron Rodgers over there. Yeah, it's been fun to see in person. I'll say that. Big Mike is I'm happy with the coaching change. I will say that.
I am heavily rooting for the Steelers this year. Just purely for Mike McCarthy, purely for Aaron Rodgers. It's so cool to see them reconvene one last time before they sail off into the sunset, Mm-hmm. So I'm really rooting for them. I know there's another few former Packers over there. I know Robert Tunyon's there.
Robert Tonyan is there.
So a lot of guys from years past.
Dean Lowry is on the roster as well. So another
he was there last year, right?
He was there last year. Yeah, he got hurt. He's been there. This is his third year here. He got hurt last year in training camp, so he didn't play at all, but was there the year before as well.
Wow, Dean Lowry, man. 2016.
Yeah. I was gonna say, yeah, he's carved out a nice decade-long career for himself.
Yeah, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm definitely hoping for the best with the Steelers. Hoping to see Rodgers string together another good year. And as you mentioned, I know they had a home playoff game last year. It was very hard to watch, but I'm hoping they make it back and kind of avenge that because I don't want that to be his last playoff performance. It can't go out like that.
You and I both. Darnell Savage was also on the team for about 10 minutes. They released him a few days ago. So another former Packer. Yeah. Replaced him with Rayshon Jenkins, who I'm pretty sure has not been a Packer, to my knowledge at least.
No, I think I remember wanting the Packers to sign him at one point a few years ago. But man, it's a shame Darnell Savage never became a serviceable.
He was a high draft pick.
He was a first-round pick. Yeah, he was a first-round pick. I think 26th overall, actually 26th or 21st. Like
but was he the one who had the pick 6 off Dak a few years ago, or was that somebody else?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay. See, it's all in here. It's all in here somewhere. I think after that play, I was like, all right, yeah, Darnell Savage. Yeah, finally something, coming to big things. Now, look, he's carved out a nice little journeyman career at this point. He's with the Bills last year in their playoff run, and the less said about that, I guess, the better. We'll see where he lands. But he was there. He was a Steeler for about 5 minutes, and then they cut him and gave his jersey number immediately to Rayshon Jenkins. It's a cold world out here.
Wow.
Yeah.
They didn't even give him a chance to digest that. Wow.
They didn't. They didn't. Did you purposely say digest there because I said it a few times?
No, I'm not. I'm not that vindictive. I'm not gonna hold a grudge.
Packers Dispatch is the place to be. Absolutely, go subscribe to it. Zach, this has been a lot of fun, brother. Appreciate you,
dude. I appreciate you having me. Let's do it again sometime.
Absolutely. And again, if you're watching on YouTube, that is the best way to take in our show. Please be sure to subscribe, youtube.com/@JarrettBaileyNFL. If you're listening as a podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, follow along that way. You get notified when new episodes release. We will be back next week, week 1, officially week 1 of the NFL preseason next week, where every team will be in action. Will be a lot of fun. Till then, this is the Pump Fake. We'll talk soon.